optimism about the future.
This is the Maverick Mindset Radio Show, brought to you by me, Adam Williams, who is already carrying extra weight this morning.
I don't know what happened. It's this computer.
What is this, episode 24?
No, it's 25. It's the big 25.
All right, big 25, and you just dropped the ball. Oh,
I did.
It's right in my notes. Here I am, not looking at them now.
That's right. I'll carry you.
Yeah. All right. As we were live on the radio, we're live on Facebook, but also for those listening to the recording, it is September 11th today.
Yes.
We had the presidential debate last night.
I fell asleep during.
I didn't even turn it on. I knew it started.
I wasn't
at 9
going
p.m.
to, and then my son texts me. He goes, "I'm pretty sure you would be a better candidate than what's happening on here. You must watch."
Is that a compliment that he's making?
I think so.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I read some news articles this morning to stay a little bit up to speed, and we're actually doing something for our clients on Friday where we compare the two candidates' tax proposals,
yes,
or at least what exists in their proposals now. And so I read the articles, but man, I intentionally avoid watching a lot of news.
Yeah.
And days like today are a good reminder of that.
It's a little negative.
Yeah. And did you see Dave Grohl had a baby not with his wife?
No.
That was yesterday's news. Guy's 55 years old.
Jeez.
That is the second person that I like. My mom loves Dave Grohl because he's always been pretty much scandal free, right? And he's famous.
Not anymore.
Yeah, total.
It's
total
funny.
bummer.
Cheery had a baby, not with his wife.
And in other really interesting, depressing things, I was thinking about September 11th too, because I was a freshman in college.
I was at hair school.
Yeah. I don't think I knew that. You love education.
I do. I was a professional student for a while.
Yeah. Well, so was I. But I was thinking about that, and I was also thinking about the pandemic, because there was a short period at September 11, 2001, there was a short period where we didn't know what happened. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of uncertainty. We didn't have answers. And then once we found out, it was a terrorism plot and they had all these other planes, and we started to understand the meaning of that event. Yeah. That America was under attack by people that hated us.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about the COVID-19 pandemic, where we don't have those answers.
No.
I don't think that we as a society have agreed on what COVID-19 was.
I agree.
And we're now 4.5 years.
Isn't that crazy?
After the start of it?
4.5 years already.
Is that it? Am I doing that math right? Yeah. 4.5 years. Man, almost to the day. 4 years and 6 months for some of the lockdowns. And so it's really interesting because one of the things that I try and provide in our business is some certainty to our team and to our clients, and that's the one thing. And we're still dealing with COVID and pandemic stuff.
A lot of businesses are still dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear it on so many calls.
And it's tough because, with the tax credit work that we did, where our clients are still waiting for money. Mm-hmm. We have a client who the IRS just issued checks. We filed the claims 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The IRS just issued the checks, and nothing has happened in between there. We haven't done any extra work. We were just waiting for the IRS, and they're paying this one client that I'm thinking of. He's going to get an extra $23,000 of interest.
I totally forgot about that. Was it worth the wait then?
And again, we did nothing.
Yeah.
We just waited. Had the IRS actually done something, that one guy would have gotten $23,000 less. Now, as a taxpayer, I'm infuriated by that concept, but it made our clients better off. But there's still billions of dollars of claims sitting out there that the IRS is accruing and paying interest on. Mm-hmm. And I'm tying that back to the pandemic in a way that we're still trying to agree what the pandemic meant, but now we're still dealing with these repercussions of it. Yeah. Man, let's get into something more positive. That was my morning thought this morning on the drive-in. All right, so episode 25.
Really? Because I heard the music blasting as you pulled up.
You know what I was listening to?
What were you listening to? I wondered.
Eminem. Because that's what I listened to. The 8 Mile came out my freshman year of college.
Nice.
9/11 was my freshman year of college, so I was bringing it back.
Yeah.
I'll probably listen to Creed on my way to the office after this.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I can't get the stereo to sound good in that car, but I'm working on it.
I mean, it sounded good from the street.
That's all that matters, as long as I look cool. All right. So what are we covering today? Can you announce the topic? Because you said the title and it was good.
Yeah, the truth about sales, and then you added you are a salesperson whether you like it or not.
Yeah, And I'm nervous about that show title because I think a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's about sales. That has nothing to do with me. Or I don't like sales because it's slimy. I'm not going to listen to this. And you people are missing out. Yeah. If you're gonna tune out because of that topic, you are gonna miss some really good stuff today.
I used to be one of you.
Yeah, and now your job is sales, officially.
Yes.
Even though for many others it's unofficial. All right, so before we jump into it, let's talk about where we're at.
Yep.
So episode 25, live from downtown Erie on.
It's a sunny day.
talkerie.com. It is a sunny day.
Yeah.
It's crisp. I had pumpkin spice coffee.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Darn it.
Jackie bought a bunch of it over the weekend. Because the temperature dropped like 10 degrees. We got the episodes up on Spotify. Our YouTube following is growing, although we could always use more subscribers there. And then, of course, MaverickMindsetRadio.com, where you can use the code Maverick10 for 10% off merch. And you could also be a good person and share the show. Yeah. So if you're tuning in, if you're listening live, there's a handful of you out there. Hit the share button. Spread the love. Spread the wisdom. Help us preach our gospel of entrepreneurship.
And this morning I was searching for a pen. Can we make pens to go with the notebook?
Probably.
I think that needs to be added.
We can do anything.
Yeah, I think that needs to be.
We can do anything.
Yep.
The possibilities are endless for this show. All right. Quote of the day. Did you pick one today?
Oh my God.
All right.
No, you know. Wow.
Today's quote is from
dropping the ball today.
This is what I said. This is the show that we need to prepare the least for.
And
I didn't mean zero.
I know. I took that literally.
Anyway, if anybody out there would like to hire a salesperson who doesn't prepare for radio shows, I think we got somebody who's going to be looking. All right. Today's quote is from Zig Ziglar.
Oh, you had one.
I have several actually, because I actually looked at the sales training we did for our team last June and went through the slides, and I had a bunch of really good quotes in there.
Yeah.
So
take it away, Adam.
As we planned. So Zig Ziglar, he's got great videos on YouTube, great books, great guy. I have always said that everyone is in sales. Maybe you don't hold the title of salesperson, but if the business you are in requires you to deal with people, you, my friend, are in sales.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Thanks.
That was a perfect.
I just want to let you know that that's not the first time you've heard that quote because it was in my sales training.
I know. It sounded very familiar, but that was a good one for our topic.
Yeah. All right. So I want to do this. Let's start out with some definitions so people understand specifically what we're talking about. Because again, they're going to hear sales and they're going to say this doesn't apply to me. Yep. In like the traditional business setting, I think it's really important to draw a distinction between marketing and sales.
Yes, they're not the same thing.
They're not. They have two different purposes. Mm-hmm. And it's really important to understand that purpose because I'll be honest with you, a lot of marketers don't understand the purpose of marketing and a lot of salespeople don't understand the purpose of sales. Yeah. So if you get nothing else out of this show, I'm gonna help you better define your role. And if you're a business owner, you got to understand how all these parts work together. Because we have client acquisition where we got marketing and sales, and then we got to actually deliver our goods and services, and we got the financial metrics, and we've talked about the parts of the business on this show before, and in fact we should probably do a deeper dive into that at some point. But it's how we do our business planning too. Mm-hmm. What's our marketing goal? What's our sales goal? What's our hiring and our people goal? All right, so the purpose of marketing is to bring qualified customers or qualified clients at the right time with the right problem in the right frame of mind to the business. So if someone walks into McDonald's looking to buy a new bedspread, marketing has not done its job.
That's correct.
If someone calls our tax strategy business on a Tuesday morning looking to buy a hamburger, our marketing has failed.
Yes.
So marketing, it's the right type of potential clients and customers at the right time with the right kind of problem and in the right frame of mind. Meaning they're calling you with a problem that your business can help solve. And when I say calling, it could be walking in, it could be emailing, but they're contacting your business or they've reached out to your business at the right time, meaning they're ready to solve their problem. The problem is ripe for being fixed. It's the type of problem that your business actually solves. And frankly, they're ready to buy. Mm-hmm. They're ready to make a decision about whether they want to buy or not. That's the job of marketing. Yeah. It's not to get your brand out there. It's not to make your logo look cool. The purpose of marketing is to attract potential clients looking to hire a business like yours. Okay?
Yep.
Too many businesses mess that up.
Yeah, because I
they don't
think what you
understand.
said, it's a lot of thinking. It's all centered around the branding and getting acknowledgement out there, but not really pulling in the people that are going to give you the right business.
Right. So I always look at lawyers with this stuff because I think a lot of lawyers really miss the boat on this. But the TV ads and the billboards and like that's not appropriate for every type of business or every type of law practice and things like that. But if you're, so I'll give you the billboard as an example because I think we were just talking to somebody about this. If you are a car accident lawyer and you run a billboard saying, if you've been injured in an accident, call us, you basically have to ensure that that person got in an accident underneath your billboard.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to forget you exist, right?
This is true.
Or you've got to run so many of them
Yeah.
that people never forget who you are.
Yeah.
But most small businesses don't have that budget. Edgar Snyder,
He's everywhere.
But in the 1980s, when they changed the law about attorney advertising, he went out and took $1 million loan for his advertising campaign. He had $1 million in the 80s to establish his name. And then it worked and the business grew and now his marketing budget is much bigger. But most of us can't afford that. So if you're going to take out that single billboard, you got to get really lucky. Mm-hmm. And the other part that business owners miss is they don't track it. Like there's no special website or phone number or QR code or anything. Yeah. So marketing's got to get in front of the right people at the right place with the right problems and convince them to contact your business. But then what if marketing works? That's when we get into sales.
Yeah.
And the purpose of sales is to convert potential customers into customers.
So it's converting the people that the marketing brought in.
Assuming marketing did its job.
Sales is not bringing the leads in.
Yep.
Marketing is bringing the leads in. Sales is converting them.
Is converting them. Right. And I mean, there's some like hybrid roles. Like you can get somebody in a business development role who goes out and they're shaking hands. But generally speaking, those business development people are not in sales. They're in marketing. They're generating the leads and generating the referrals and things like that.
Yeah.
It's usually someone else's job to get those people to sign on the line, which is dotted, which you don't get that reference because you still haven't watched Glengarry Glen Ross, have you? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. What do you do all day? All right. So, but here's the thing. Like in our business, we have very specific dedicated sales conversations with our potential clients. We schedule them in advance. We give them information. We have a very structured, not scripted, but choreographed conversation with them. But let's talk to all the other businesses who don't conduct sales in that manner. Right. If you've got the coffee shop and someone comes in and places an order, that is a sale. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to care enough about that customer to make sure that they're getting what they want or to give them additional options. So if they order the coffee and you have really great bagels, why wouldn't you at least offer, do you want one of our really great bagels? Yeah. Right?
But the thing is, beyond the product, I'll go back and get the bagels in addition to the coffee if my experience is good from the moment that I walk in. Because if there's like this and we did this with, remember the local coffee shop that we went to after work, and that guy that was selling us the coffee was so cool, like wanted to go back.
Yeah, but you and I are good people, and we like to support nice people. Like that's just
but his energy was
like
good.
that.
No,
Yeah.
But his energy was good, and it made a great experience getting like it was like, oh, great, like I'll definitely come back here. And had he offered me a bagel, I would have got it.
We're gonna get into that later too, because
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about the type of person you have to be
Yes.
to make sales. But here's the big thing that I want to get out of the way early in this show, because here I think a lot of people look at sales as a sleazy thing.
I did.
The reality is, it's the highest paying profession in the world.
Yeah.
And no business succeeds without sales.
Yeah.
And again, as we said at the top of the show, if you deal with people, you are in sales. It may not be selling them as a customer. So let's better define this. Sales is not something you do to someone.
Right.
What is it?
Something you do for someone.
And what does that mean to you?
When I first heard that, it was like a light bulb, right? Because I always thought when I was trying to sell something to somebody, I was, in terms of doing something to them, I was annoying them. I was trying to make them do something they didn't want to do.
Yep.
And now I understand that what I'm doing is something for them in the aspect of it's something that they need that's going to help them and benefit them. And I am helping to get them to that decision to get what they need to be better.
That's a pretty good explanation.
Thank you.
But I think that's the point is, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, we start our businesses because we want to make money and have freedom and control our own schedule and things like that. Yeah. But I think if you really boil it down and as your business continues to grow, the most successful businesses focus on helping other people.
Yeah.
That's the focus.
Yeah.
So if your business actually helps other people, I feel bad in especially in Pennywise for the qualified clients, right? Not everybody that calls us is qualified to be a client of ours. But for the qualified clients that we can actually help, I feel bad for them when they don't make the decision. Mm-hmm. And the decision could be, no, I don't want to hire you, but I'm going to go hire someone else who provides this service. And I may or may not feel bad in that instance. And the clients that do hire us, I feel really happy for because I know we're going to make their lives better and we're going to reduce their tax bill. But it's for the people that never get to a decision that I feel really bad for.
Yeah.
Like, at least give us a yes or no and
Yes.
move forward, because I as a salesperson must have done an inadequate job of showing you or demonstrating to you how you need our services and how they can make your life better.
Yeah.
But again, I got to genuinely believe that,
Yeah.
right? If I have a coffee shop and I sell really crappy coffee, then I am in a sleazy sales job because I'm making you buy something or overcharging you for something that you're not getting a whole heck of a lot of value out of. So I think it's really important to understand that distinction is you are bringing people to a better future with your products and services.
Most people don't have the clarity when they're calling on something or wanting a product or like with our taxing on whether they actually need it or not, right? They think they do but they're not sure. So it's helping them not in your side of as a salesperson to make the sale, but helping them to understand whether they actually do need it or not. Mm-hmm. And most people are genuinely happy, even if they have figured out they don't, because even that peace of mind of knowing, no, I'm good, I don't need that too, is good for them. So in some way you are helping them.
So we've talked about in our sales calls, the purpose of the call. Mm-hmm. You are helping the potential client decide what they want, and you are helping them decide how bad they want it. Yep. And you are helping them decide whether our business is the right fit for them.
Yeah.
And then you offer them a solution.
Yes.
Right? It's a shame the number of salespeople that don't help people or their prospects get clarity on what they want and how bad they want it. We're dealing with this right now, dealing with a potential vendor. And the guy, we have exchanged emails and voicemails, but haven't actually talked on the phone. He sent me their price list twice. It's like, well, I'm not going to look at the price until I decide if I actually want this thing.
Yeah.
And if you help me decide whether I want your services, and then you help me really get clarity on how bad I want it, right? Because there's things I want that I don't want it bad enough to spend the money,
right,
or I don't see the value in it. But if you don't let me decide or don't help me decide what I want and how bad I want it, it doesn't matter what the price is, because I haven't made that decision yet. And I think a lot of business owners struggle to see the value in what they provide, either because they aren't confident or they haven't thought about it enough, or they're just so distracted by all the other things that they start with the price and they lead off with the price, right? So our widget is $8,000. Okay, but let's talk about whether I want the widget and how it can help me and how it can improve my life and how it can make my business better, make me better looking or more financially successful or more popular or famous or whatever it is that we're looking for.
Do you think sometimes people are confused, like that they lack the confidence in what they're selling or their product is because they themselves don't truly understand how it's helping people?
I think there could be that. I think another big issue comes back to money mindset and how other people spend money. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of salespeople impose their own money decisions on other people.
Yeah.
So for example, you, Ashley, are you going to spend $15,000 on a tax strategist? No. It's a crazy amount of money for you. You frankly don't need it and wouldn't get the value out of it. But then we've got other clients and they're like, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I need to do this, right? And the problem is you put your money judgment there and you're going to say, well, this is a lot of money.
So the way that I sell it to them is based on my feelings.
It's coming through your paradigms,
yeah.
which is such a shame.
Yes.
So like if I was selling, I gotta be careful here. if I was selling cars, I would have a difficult time selling. Yeah. I would have a difficult time selling Kias. Okay. I would have a really hard time doing that. Because
you don't believe in the Kia.
I believe in them, but I just don't think they're the best choice for most people.
Yeah.
I think most people will buy them because they're cheap.
Yeah.
Although there are some nice Kia was a bad example. There's some good Kias out there, but
they're improving.
I'll pick how about Range Rover? I would have a hard time selling Range Rover, and I can say that because I drive one. Yeah. But they're pretty unreliable. When they run, they're great. But so I would have a difficult time, with my own decisions in my life selling people other stuff. Yeah. But it's also what makes me a good salesperson, because often when I'm selling something, I will. Actually, there was a really great line I saw on social media recently, and I think it was Alex Hermosi. And the big problem with sales is most salespeople do not offer the $1,000 item to the $100 customer. Mm-hmm. And they also offer the $100 item to the $1,000 customer.
Yeah.
If I'm the $1,000 customer and you offer me the $100 item and I buy it, and then I later find out that there was a $1,000 item, I'm upset. At least give me the ability to make the choice on that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we just booked our flights yesterday to Atlanta, and I was thinking about that. Like, it's pretty easy to compare the three options for economy and economy plus and first class, right? Yes. I can pull them all up there. I know how excited you are about that.
We need to talk first
about
class. I'm so excited.
I'm gonna make you pay for the upgrade. But that's the point, right? But if you were selling airline tickets, what types of tickets would you sell? You'd sell a lot of economy tickets.
Yeah.
Because that's the decision that you make. You don't spend your own money for the upgrade.
Yeah.
But you know what? Enough of us do that I can't remember the last time I flew in first class and there was an empty seat.
Yeah.
But if I'm inserting my own paradigms and money judgments and making that decision for my clients, I'm never even going to give them that option. And I think a lot of us do that, right? I'll shout them out because I know they've listened to the show and I've told the story, and it's really a funny story. The cigar lounge down the street, right? So they have lockers, and I was there one night with a bunch of people, and I signed the contract for my locker, right? So I got my cigar locker. It's right next to the humidor. I got, you get the custom badge on it and stuff like that. Well, there's a group of us there, and this is a good lesson in social proof. Adam Williams signed up for a locker. Maybe I should think about one too. So they brought over more contracts and 3 or 4 people signed up. But by like the third person, she said, we've also got this other offering where you get 2 free cigars every month. And I'm like, yo,
hello,
that wasn't even an option for me. And she goes, well, I didn't think you would want it. I'm like, you don't know anything about me. I'm driving a $100,000 car. Like, I want the premium offer, right? And I joke about it now, and I did end up upgrading, but I think that's a really good example. She wouldn't have paid for the upgrade, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at least give me that option, right? Let me give you a different story than that. When we bought our RV during the pandemic, which was an interesting time to buy an RV, we went to a local RV dealership. Salesperson was pretty good. We told him what we were looking for. I found one online. It was used. Thought it would meet all of our needs, right? So he shows it to us. I'm like, yeah, it's great. He goes, all right, I'm glad you like it. Let me show you another one. So we go, and this one's a little upgraded, right? Kitchen's a little bit nicer. I go in there. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is even better. Yeah. I need this. He goes, great. Let me show you one more. And then we go in the one that has like the upgraded mattress and a little better appliances. And I'm like, oh, nope, this is it. This is the best one. And then he's like, all right, but let me show you one more. And then we get it another one, and it's a little bit bigger, and the materials are a little bit nicer, and the bathroom's better equipped. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is it. Let me show you one more. Jeez. And we looked at that one, and it was like too big for my truck to tow and too heavy and wouldn't be able to park it. And I'm like, nope, this isn't it. That's called selling to the no, right? But at least he got me to my limit, and not in a bad way. My family is better off because I didn't buy the first one. I bought the fourth one that he showed us.
He didn't stop at the
yes.
At the yes.
And here's the cool thing about that. Is if he was looking at me like most people look at me or prospects as a transaction, as a sale to close, he would have stopped at that first one because I wanted it. Instead, now we have a little bit of a relationship. I actually went to an RV show in Pittsburgh, and the guy remembered me. And it was like 2 years later. It was really, I had to go through my phone and look up his name because I couldn't remember it. But he remembered my name. And I think that's a really good example of he wasn't looking for the transaction. He was looking for the relationship, because he knows if I bought what I actually wanted, I'd be happier with that business and I'd probably come back.
Yeah.
Whereas if he let me buy the one that would have been inadequate and smaller and I would have been tripping all over my kids every time we went camping, I would have been disappointed in it. Yeah. Right. So I think that was a really good example that I'm grateful that this salesperson cared enough to show me additional options.
Yeah.
Right. I think that was a really good example. Here's the other thing that went along with that sale and good sales in general. And what a lot of people don't understand is people buy for emotional reasons and then they justify it with logic.
Yes.
So when someone compliments you on your outfit and, oh, you look so nice today, thank you. You bought that because you wanted exactly that response from people.
Right.
But then what do? I got it on sale.
Oh, I got it here. Yeah.
I got a really good deal on it.
Yeah.
Right. So you justify it with the logic piece of, oh, it was a good deal, or it was the end of the season, or it was a closeout. Yeah. But you didn't buy it for that reason. You're justifying it for that reason, right? And I think that this is a missed opportunity. I think about Lewis, the tailor down the street, right? Like, I'm not gonna buy a custom suit for logical reasons. I'm gonna buy it because it makes me look and feel awesome.
Yeah.
I feel great when I dress well and my clothes fit well and all that other stuff, right? But then I'm going to justify it and say, oh, well, I got our logo in it and, it's a tax deduction or whatever. Or, I'm trying to support the local business. So that you feel
okay about spending the money on it.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this on several shows where getting people to admit what they want. It's really hard for people to say that. But a lot of purchases are emotional decisions.
Yeah.
When we had the food truck, we did not sell $13 grilled cheese sandwiches because people are logical.
Right.
We sold $13 grilled cheese sandwiches, and we're talking, 4, 5, 6 years ago, 2018, I think. We were selling, pre-mega inflation, we were selling $13 grilled cheese sandwiches because they made people feel good.
Yeah.
And they were like huge and looked really good on Instagram, and we actually coordinated the boats with the paper and stickers.
They wanted their money's worth, and to look at it and be like, this was worth $13.
Yeah, and they shared it with their friends, and when they see the big line at our truck and the short line at the other truck, they get in our truck because they want to be. So it's a very emotional thing, and then they'll justify it and say, oh, well, it was, I was going to say it was quick. Our food truck was never quick, but they've fixed that part of it. But it filled me up, and I didn't need to grab a snack later in the afternoon, or I desperately needed a nap, so I ate one of your sandwiches and it knocked me right out.
I think getting people to the why of why they need something or why they want something in the initial beginning part of selling to them helps to understand how to sell to them or what to say or how to connect with them throughout the conversation. When you're talking to somebody and they are I've learned they're very like nonchalant about it. Like, well, I know like I kind of need this, or I was told I need this. And so I know I'm not playing on emotions, or there's not like this reason behind it that is going to impact them enough to make the sale. I know that I can also learn that they pretty much, spending the money is not an object for them. It's a no big deal to them, right? When I get somebody on the phone that is emotional about like, I'm losing this because of this, or this is impacting me in this way, and I know I need it because I can't do it anymore. I know then there's an emotional connection, and I have to not play on it, but I have to dig into that to then show them more of why they need what they need and how that's going to change their life having that. That is,
we checked all these boxes. You and I did one sales call yesterday, and I actually broke one of my own rules because the guy said yes, and I kept talking. Don't do that.
I know. I caught that.
but I had to get a couple things in there because I needed you to see how these things work, right? So in our marketing and in our sales, we talk about defunding the IRS because super cool people get emotional about that. They get fired up and they understand the amount of waste there is in the government. And yes, they don't want the IRS paying people $23,000 of interest simply because the IRS is slow, right? They don't want that. We also talked with this guy and with a lot of our clients about pocket more profit, keep more of what you earn. Like you work
it's your
hard,
money.
you work hard, and frankly, you're tipping the government, and you don't even realize it. People get really emotional about that. The additional question that I asked yesterday after basically the sale was closed is I said, dude, imagine if we can save you $50,000 or $60,000 a year.
What would you do with it?
What are you going to do with that money?
Yeah.
And did you see he
was like,
the room lit up that he was sitting
like,
in on Zoom.
No,
like, man.
Yeah.
And I bet he hung up from that call and immediately started thinking about what an extra
he
50 or 60
hung up from that call and immediately signed and paid.
well that too, but
because he realized it hit him that quickly of like,
yeah,
I could have this amount of money back.
So that's a good instance where we are not selling tax strategies or tax savings or professional services.
No, we're selling future benefits to people.
Yep, and what they can do with that. He may decide, hey, you save me $50,000, I'm going to go and take a vacation. Fine, that's an emotional thing too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us right now are thinking, I'm going to share some of this with my team, or I'm going to go hire more employees, or I'm going to all the things that we were affected by during the pandemic, where we weren't making as much money as we wanted. Like finally, I can get a little bit of this back and do some good with it. I think that generally speaking, that's how a lot of business owners are thinking. Now, of course, there's perception out there of the greedy business owners who aren't going to share, and it's not going to trickle down. We don't generally work with those people,
right.
But that was a really good example of. And if we had the conversation earlier, I would have actually made him answer the question of what would you do with an extra $50,000 or $60,000, right? Because once he starts spending it and realizing the benefit that he can have, and really in this instance, we looked at his tax returns, realizing how easy it would be to have that money to go and make an extra $50,000 of profit. Mm-hmm. Let's assume. All right, I put this video on TikTok and people lost their minds over it because they didn't understand the math. So let's walk through it now, right? If my business makes 10% profit, and I want to make an extra $100,000 of personal income, how much sales do I need to make?
Do not ask me a math question.
Okay, it's $1 million.
Okay.
If I want to make an extra $100,000, I have to do an extra $1 million of sales at a 10% profit, which I think 10% is a fairly reasonable average number for most. Some are higher, some are lower, but generally speaking, if your profit is higher than that 10%, you see people entering your market.
Right.
And if it's lower than 10%, maybe exiting. So if I want to make an extra $100,000, I've got to make $1 million of sales. And I think most small businesses are going to look at $1 million in sales and go, holy man, that's I'm going to have to spend some money and that's going to take a lot of time. Or if you're a business owner with a $500,000 tax bill, what if I could just reduce your tax bill by $100,000? That's $1 million of sales that you don't have to make.
Yeah.
Like that, keeping more of what you're already making there. And then take that $100,000 and if it's an annual, like $100,000 a year, we're talking for some of these clients, reinvest that money.
Yeah.
Go spend it on the marketing campaign, or put it into stocks and bonds or mutual funds or ETFs or whatever, or hire an additional person or two or half a person, depending on what your salaries look like. That the accumulative effect of saving $100,000 this year and what that can mean for you next year and the year after that and the year after that, as it piles up, like that's the thought process that really creative business owners love doing. Of what would I do with an extra 100,000 that doesn't require me to scale my business by $1 million of revenue? Whew, I'm getting fired up. I already got some ideas. I know how I would spend it. I would balance it between the team and some really personal, selfish things. That's the word
selfish
things. Yeah, I'd do something nice for Jackie, I'm sure.
Aw.
All right. So, what else do you want to cover? How about?
No, okay. So I wanted to get your. No, I'm going first.
Yep.
I wanted to get your opinion on something because you had me watching the Grant Cardone videos for sales, which are actually really good. I appreciate them. So, in those videos, his belief is, and he looks at, as people are in the sales position, that usually once somebody is starting in sales, they usually have this, they're really pumped up. They're really excited. They're very productive right off the bat. Probably that first year of selling, like they're pretty good. And then all of a sudden it takes a fall.
Yep.
And he believes that a lot of times with business owners or leaders, they're going to be like, you're dropping the ball. You don't know what you're doing. You don't like what you're doing. Like that, it's the salesperson's fault. He believes, though, and he says, as a business owner or a leader or the person that it is your job to dig into why and understand that there is a loss of motivation or a loss of belief in the product. And you have to bring that back with your employer, your salesperson. What are your thoughts on that? Because he switches it around and
I
says,
have so many thoughts on
it
this.
is the responsibility of the business owner to not put the blame and say, you're not doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you doing it? What happened?
Ooh, man, I got a lot that I could cover on this one. So these sales trainings,
Yeah.
Grant Cardone has a world-class sales team.
Yes.
And even if you never buy anything from them, if you engage in their sales process, you can learn an awful lot about sales.
Yes.
Okay. I grew up, my parents' business was sales driven. That when someone walked in the store, a salesperson was there to help them through the transaction and make their decision and get their stuff, right? Our business is primarily a marketing-driven business. I prefer it that way, that we focus on marketing and generating leads so that the sales conversation is easier.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the reason why. Salespeople are a pain in the neck. They're human beings. They have off days. They get angry. They lose motivation. They lose inspiration. They get sick. God forbid.
Yeah.
Ashley. It's kind of a joke in our office that if you have a Zoom meeting with somebody who has a cold, you end up picking it up.
Yeah.
But so I have made the conscious decision that we are going to be a marketing-driven organization because when the marketing works, it just works.
It just works. Yeah.
And doesn't matter what kind of mood the salesperson is in. And I mean, this even goes back to when I was the salesperson.
Yeah.
If I was having a bad day or I didn't sleep well or whatever, sales suffered because of it. Yeah. So I made the decision to be a marketing-driven organization.
Because marketing is attracting your avatar client.
Yep.
And that
and if you do it right, and you have systems and a glide path in place. You've even seen it in our business as we've launched this in the last few months, that our potential customers come into the sales calls better informed about our business and what we're about and what we're going to talk to them about, right? So it makes the sales job easier.
Yes.
Now, for our business, we do high ticket sales, right? McDonald's doesn't need world-class salespeople to sell Big Macs. Right. But we need pretty good salespeople to sell what we're selling, just because of the dollar amount and the type of customer and things like that. So
you've mentioned McDonald's twice, and I'm really hungry. Just that out.
We're looking for sponsorships, McDonald's corporate, if you're listening.
Just saying.
That would help us and TalkErie.com, which is growing a huge following in Erie, Pennsylvania.
I will eat a Big Mac on this show.
A bellwether county in the presidential election in a bellwether state. The listening audience is growing. We're always looking for sponsorships. Yeah. All right. So let's get back to what you were saying with the salespeople losing. Let's say you losing motivation or losing momentum or just not getting the results.
Yes.
Right. This is really interesting. This is a sales management problem.
Yes.
But back to the top of the show, it is a sales problem.
Yeah.
When you started the sales job, not you, Ashley, but you, salesperson, when you started the sales job, why were you so excited? What was making you push so hard?
Me personally?
Just what do you think? What do you think's going through their head when you start a new sales job?
Well, I think most people, it's the money and the challenge and
it's the potential.
Yeah.
They have a vision of what their future could be, that if they do sales and they get the commissions and they make more money, it's the car and the house and the vacation and the kids' tuition and it's their better future, right? Well, surprise, surprise, it doesn't usually happen as quickly as you want it to, and you start to get discouraged. And then there's some hurdles, and you lose a little bit of momentum.
Yep.
And if your sales manager isn't there to remind you of that better future that you were working towards, you're going to lose all the momentum.
Yes.
And this is again a problem with a sales-driven organization, is you need someone in that role to continually do that.
Yeah.
Now, in our business, I believe that's true for every role, not just sales, right? When you started this job, there was something that you were looking forward to.
Agree.
There was a better future that you were looking forward to.
Well, which goes back to your salesperson, whether you like it or not. And everything you're doing, you are, Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that there's some whatever Grant Cardone wants to blame that on, it really is a management issue, I believe, because not all of us can be self-motivated all the time.
Yeah.
We need that external source.
Yeah. And that's what he's saying. You need that. You need to have that
honestly,
in place.
that's why I started coaching small businesses.
Yeah.
Because small business owners don't have managers.
Yep.
They need someone to remind them of their vision and remind them what inspired them and keep them focused and hold them accountable. Like, that's what a good boss does. That's what a good manager does. That's what a good leader does. But there's nobody above me on the accountability chart in our office, right? So I go to outside sources for stuff like that. And then I offer the same services for other business owners.
I think as yourself, you need to be able to recognize when you're in that spot, and you also need to be able to go and seek out what you need to get you back into that momentum or that motivated place. Because if you continue to sit in it and you don't do anything to fix it, then you don't get better. And so I know for me personally, when I feel in that spot with whatever role I have going on, I know that if I come to you or I come to Jackie, I'm specifically doing it because I know that I am losing some type of, like I said, that motivation or that inspiration or that momentum that I need in order to keep doing better. So I've come to you and said, I'm feeling defeated. I'm feeling at this. So I know that at that point you're going to, and Jackie does well at that too, picking up on what I need to hear.
Let me give you an
told.
example. We're going to Atlanta in 2 weeks.
Yes.
For a conference.
Very excited.
Where some of our clients are actually in the room.
Yes.
And many of our potential clients are there.
Yes.
This is a marketing trip.
Yep.
It's you and me and Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
We booked the flights yesterday. And in my normal life, if things were a little bit less chaotic than they were right now, I would have booked you the economy ticket and said, you can pay for the upgrade if you want. But I didn't do that. I didn't have the time for it. It was just easier to book 3 first-class tickets, right? You're really excited about that.
I'm so excited.
So on the one hand, that is a reward for you, right? Doing really good work. I got your car detailed last week too. That was really nice of me.
Yes. I've been driving it.
What that's another 5 detailing, Tyler.
Yeah. Yes, he did great.
Frequent listener of the show.
But I feel better now driving it around when it's all shiny and clean, and it's.
But here's the
motivating.
other reason that I did that is because it's a short flight, right? We're going Pittsburgh to Atlanta. It's 2 hours, but you'll have that experience, and you know what that's going to remind you of? One of your goals. What's your goal?
Traveling.
To
Bali.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's gonna remind you to get back to being focused on that goal because you've taken your eye off the ball a little bit.
It's on my vision board.
Right, but now I'm making it a little bit more real.
Yes.
And it's going to get off the board and more clearly into your head because you're going to have that experience.
Yep.
Right? That is management. That is sales management. Now, if we could have gone another way and I would say, "Oh, let me create this incentive system to get you the upgraded ticket or you pay for the upgrade and you go earn the money or whatever." Like there's really no right or wrong answer to it, but the reality is I wanted you to have that experience so that you get back to this really big goal that you have so that you're focused on being productive and getting results. You're welcome.
Thank you. But it's also, again, it was the trip in itself and being able to go. Something that I also wanted to do is be able, again, just in the workplace, to be able to travel more and have those experiences. So knowing that I did enough to get to being able to have that experience motivates you to want to do more, to have more of those experiences. So it comes at a good time to put me in an environment, in a place of, again, not just with the traveling to Bali, but in a place career-wise that I want to be.
Yeah.
And around the people that I want to be with. So it's showing you, again, more goal future-wise of where I want to be, having that experience.
So let's bring it back to sales because this is a good sales and management lesson as we were talking about salespeople losing momentum. Personally, I, Adam Williams, on the 11th of September 2024, have zero interest in going to Bali. But that doesn't matter, right? You're doing things for your reasons and I do things for my reasons.
Yes.
So a bad salesperson is going to assume that clients want to buy for the salesperson's reasons.
Yeah.
I bought my breakfast sandwich this morning for different reasons than the cashier would have bought his breakfast sandwich or the guy in front of me in line would have bought his. We all bought the same thing, but we all did it for different reasons. And I think a good salesperson understands those reasons. Or like you talked about earlier, why do you want this thing, this service, this product, this whatever, right?
Well, and it's understanding. It's so the first thing is that we talked about the greeting and the very first making that connection with the person that's you're selling to. And it is different with every single person you talk to. So understanding why they're having that call, what they need, or getting a feel for right off the bat, those first like few minutes of having a call with somebody and seeing and hearing what they're saying, it leads me to the approach that I need to have with selling to them. An example, if I walk into a store with all 4 of my children, right? And so right off the bat,
I've already got this picture in my head.
Right.
They're all walking in a single file line, being very mindful and quiet.
I'm sure they are. If you come up to sell me like a new coat and you try and tell me like how it's going to keep me warm and how it's made and I can wash it and it's not going to shrink, I'm going to keep on walking. I don't have time for that. But if you come up to me and say, this would look really good on you and it's going to make you feel really good, and you're going to feel completely different when you're walking in the store with your 4 kids, and you play on the fact that like seeing that she's probably stressed out that she has 4 kids and bringing them all into a store and what's going to make her feel better. She probably wants to look better, and you play on that. I'm going to walk out of that store with that coat. So it's understanding what that person is really needing. And again, going back, like you have to establish that relationship with them too.
Or if I'm selling you a car, I'm probably not going to show you a car with a white interior first.
Correct.
I'm probably going to show you a dark interior.
Yeah.
And probably leather because it's easier to clean.
Yes.
But I'm at least going to show it to you. So
you have to
that's
be observant of the.
So observant, but you also have to ask good questions.
Yeah.
And actually, I think this is another interesting point that I wanted to make is having a good sales conversation. It's not necessarily about building rapport. I've been having some conversations with some really bad salespeople lately who want to talk about like my Zoom background and what's that thing hanging on your wall, and it's like shut up.
They don't care.
I'm not. Yeah, I know you genuinely don't care.
Yeah.
If you did care, you would know who the artist is.
When
on
it's
the
fake.
painting behind me, right? So, but to have a good sales conversation, I'm thinking of like clothing, vehicles, high ticket sales, professional services, especially, right? This is less important in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
But it still would be a fun conversation of why are you buying coffee? And then if you tell me it's because you were up until 4 a.m. and it's now 8 a.m. and you're going to work, I'm probably going to say, we'll throw in an extra espresso shot, right?
Right.
But you've got to get people to put down their guard a little bit so that they are willing to answer your questions honestly. And I don't know where this phrase came from, and I'm sure if I Googled it, I could have found it out. But it's all else being equal, people tend to prefer to buy from people they know and like and trust. Mm-hmm. So what are you doing in your business to get people to know you and like you and trust you?
Yep.
One of the things that we do is a radio show. We know that potential employees and potential clients listen to this thing.
Right.
And there may be people out there that listen to this and say, I don't like them. Well, great. We just dodged a bullet.
Yeah. Sorry.
But at least they know us and at least they've made a decision. But I think for
whether
a lot
you like me or hate me, you're still thinking about me.
Don't even get me started. But that's funny, but that's not the point.
I know.
But so again, know and like and trust, right?
Yes.
And really, especially if you can add value. So we do things in our sales process to get people to know us and hopefully like us, if genuinely, not in a manipulative way, and to actually trust us, right?
Right.
So some of the things that we do in our business are, if you sign up for a sales consult with us and there's enough of a gap in there, our system will send you a couple emails where we explain why we started this business and
who we are,
right? Who are the founders of this thing and what do we believe in and what's important to us.
Yep.
We also will send a webinar that we did where we explain why we started this business and why it's important to us and who we help.
I send that a lot to people, and I say, maybe you already know about this stuff, and maybe this is stuff you've heard about before. I'm not sending that to you for that reason. I'm sending you that webinar so that you get a feel for who the founders are and who you're going to work with, because though your personalities come out in that, your passion comes out in that. And that's what people want to see. Can I work with these people and form this long-lasting relationship with them?
Well, especially in our business, especially with tax stuff,
Yeah.
people are trusting us with sensitive information
Right.
And confidential stuff. So they need to trust us for sure. And I don't think business owners do enough in that regard. They quote the price, and there's nothing like, I don't know you. I don't know whether I like you. I don't want to say I don't like you. I just don't have enough information to make a decision about whether I like you, and I don't trust you.
Yeah. How you make me feel is going to be a big determining factor on what I buy from you.
There is a big difference, I think. Like if you go on Facebook or in a Facebook group and somebody says, I'm looking for a gutter cleaner. I think there's a huge difference between Adam Williams going on and say, I'm a great gutter cleaner, and Ashley going in and saying, Adam Williams is a great gutter cleaner. Yeah. Isn't there a difference in that?
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't that create a little more trust, that social proof? Now, if I'm Adam Williams and I get tagged in that, I'm probably going to, again, not just say, I can come out and do an estimate tomorrow. I can say, hey, go and check out our website or go and check out this video and learn a little bit more about us. Because, in fact, I've cleaned some of the biggest and best gutters in our county, and I'm widely known as the guy who loves cleaning gutters more than anyone.
Yeah.
And I started this business because my parents' gutters got clogged and their house collapsed and my mom died.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, those types of stories I think are really important. And I don't think we do enough to talk about that.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame, but I think more business owners should do it. Get your customers to know you better and like you more and trust you more, and talk about, I think it's important to talk about why your business exists and what you stand for and what you believe in.
Yeah. Well, and to understand, you're not trying to just make the sale one time. You want to have that continuing relationship with people, and you want them to keep coming back and to refer you out. So if you're doing something, you have to think about, I'm not just selling for today. I am selling for the future. I am selling for having these people continuously be clients and bring other people to me.
Yeah. And this is a tough one for us.
Your clients become your marketers.
We have talked about, it's not about closing a sale. It's about opening a relationship.
Yes.
But that's also challenging because we do also want to track closed sales and we want to celebrate them, but they should be celebrated because now we've earned the right to say this person is a client.
If you're building a relationship and you are opening that door to that partnership, you're making the sale. So in some way, maybe it's not today, but in some way they're going to, like you say, I might not be able to help them today, but they're going to remember me maybe next year when they need me, or maybe their neighbor needs me. At some point you make that sale from that, opening that door and having that relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm even thinking about you and I, it's Wednesday now. You and I have done, I think, 2 sales calls together this week. And both of those businesses, I am like super interested in their businesses.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
I think what they do is super cool.
They were super cool people.
Even if so the marketing's working.
Yeah.
But even if we didn't convert them as a client, I still want to know more about what they do. The first business that we talked to, like I probably have clients I can refer to them, and I thought they were pretty cool guys and could help some of our people, and I thought they were doing good work. And then the other guy who was based in Phoenix, I'm thinking, man, we have more than 5 clients in Phoenix that could all use this guy's services, right? And I think it came through that I was genuinely interested in his business and not just, it wasn't about chit chat.
It wasn't selling. It really wasn't selling. It became a very good conversation.
I think a salesperson in my role would have looked at the picture on the guy's background and said, oh, you have kids? How many kids do you have? How old are they? And then I would have turned that into, well, those kids can be a great tax strategy. Little disingenuous.
Very basic.
That's your action item for the week.
Don't be basic.
Go be a genuinely nice human being.
Yes.
I believe in you. This is a great show. We'll see you next week.
That's good. Went by too fast.